Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is a rapid response meeting for employees at Hutchinson Technology. The purpose of this meeting is for staff from your local job center to share information with you about resources and services that are available to you as a laid-off worker. We'll be talking today about the job center, unemployment insurance, the State of Wisconsin Dislocated Worker Program, known as WIOA, healthcare insurance options, and TAA, the Trade Adjustment Assistance Program. I'd like to make some introductions of the staff that are joining us today. My name is Ginger Dutton. I work for Workforce Resource. My office is located at the Chippewa County Job Center. We'll have Julie Brugenthies from Workforce Resource. Her office is located at the Dunn County Job Center in Menominee. And Emily Kilby with the TAA program, Department of Workforce Development from the Eau Claire Job Center. I'd like to give you an overview of services available to you at the job center locations. Currently, job center locations are closed to the public except for appointment only at the Eau Claire location due to COVID-19. Once the job center locations reopen, some of the services available to you are an open resource room with computer lab. All the stations have access to the internet and a printer. Staff are available to answer questions and help you with things like applying for unemployment, completing Job Center of Wisconsin website registration, resume development, and lots of other question and answer type things that you might have. All of the job center locations also offer workshops on a variety of topics related to employment and weekly job clubs. I'm going to turn things over right now to Emily to discuss unemployment. I'm going to give her control of the screen. Let me stop sharing here for a second. Okay, I should be able to take over.
Okay, well, thanks, Ginger. Hopefully you can hear me. But as Ginger mentioned, I do work for the Department of Workforce Development. And the primary role that I play is I'm a case manager for the TAA program. We will talk about that later. But we also do help many people with filing for unemployment. So that's what I'm going to talk about right now. And I'm going to try to share this screen here. So let's see. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to be talking about or referring to is the unemployment benefits handout from your folder. And Ginger, can I just ask, can you see that on the screen? Okay. So as you can see at the top of that handout is the correct website to go to for unemployment filing. So be careful that you go to that particular site, which is my.unemployment.wisconsin.gov. And unemployment is done completely online. So today I'm not going to cover every detail about unemployment, but I'm going to talk through the 3 steps to the process. So as an overview, the first step is you'll apply for unemployment, and we call this the initial claim. You typically only need to do this once. Second, you'll file your weekly claim, and that needs to be done each week that you wish to receive payment. And then third, you'll be required to register on the Job Center of Wisconsin website. So to start that first step, filing for unemployment with the initial claim or doing your application, I'm going to bring up the unemployment website. And bear with me as I figure out sharing screens here. So I will bring up that website next. Okay, so that's what the my.unemployment.wisconsin.gov will look like when you first log on. If you filed before and don't remember your username or password, you will need to reset that by clicking on Forgot Username or Password. Do not attempt to create a new profile. It's also important to note, it's very important to keep track of your username and password, and particularly now, as you can imagine, the unemployment claims have risen quite a bit with the COVID-19 situation. And so it is difficult to get through to the call center. If and when you can, absolutely keep track of that username and password. You will be able to reset it if you did lose it though. Okay, so you will go through a series of questions and verify your employment for the past 18 months on your initial claim. Once that initial claim or application is filed, you'll receive a letter in the mail from unemployment, and that will include what your weekly benefit rate is. The highest rate in Wisconsin is $370. So moving next into the weekly claim. Again, that's something that you need to log on to the website and do each week that you'd like to receive payment. You'll always be filing for the week prior. So next I'm going to bring up the unemployment calendar as a visual. All right. So that. Okay. And is that showing the calendar? No. Okay. All right. Hopefully that calendar is showing up. Okay, so as you see on that visual, for instance, if you are claiming for the final week in May, or excuse me, the week of the 17th through 23rd, which I thought perhaps that may be the first week for which most of the Hutchinson people will be filing. If you're claiming for that week of the 17th through the 23rd, you need to wait until that week is finished before you can file your weekly claim. So as you can see on that calendar, the first day that you could log in and file a weekly claim for that week would be that following Sunday, May 24th. Okay, so I'm just using that as a visual. You would have the full 7 days of the week after to log in and file your weekly claim, but we recommend filing as early in the week as you can. The earlier you file, the earlier you will get paid. All right. Next, I'll just make mention of the waiting week. In the state of Wisconsin, the very first week for which you file is considered your waiting week, and you do not get paid for that week. It does not diminish any of your total unemployment that you have to draw from. You simply don't get paid for that week. During the COVID-19 information, I'll cover a little about that as well. But as of now, that week is still in place. So you do need to log in and file for that first week so that unemployment knows that that's the waiting week that you're starting with. So moving into more information about the weekly claim, you'll answer a series of questions each week, starting with, are you able and available for full-time work? Full-time is defined by unemployment as 32 hours per week. It's just important to answer all of those questions honestly, including if there are any restrictions to your work. And then if there are any questions with your claim, unemployment will contact you and you just need to contact them back. The work search. So part of the weekly claim process is that you need to search for 4 jobs each week. And I'll talk more about the process in place now for COVID-19 later. But it's important to know that on a typical unemployment claim, you will be prompted to enter 4 work searches each week. You can keep track of them by logging into your unemployment page and entering in your work search information each week, so that then when you're ready to file your claim for the week, it's all already entered as far as the work search goes. If you wish not to do it online, not to keep track of it online throughout the week, you could also just start a notebook with all the information about each of your searches. Just keep in mind you'll need to keep track of which company, who the contact was, and how you applied. You do also need to report any hours that you worked during the week, because you could potentially be eligible for a partial unemployment benefit if you worked part-time during the week. And then finally, training. It is possible that you could have your work search waived for unemployment if you are in a training plan. Keep in mind, you do have to have that training plan approved, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in the TAA part. So I covered just just details of unemployment for today. The unemployment handbook is available on the unemployment website. And also, I just want to give a phone number as a reference. If you do have questions on your claim, I'm not sure if our resource room will be open by the time that your claims are starting. However, we're still available for phone questions, so that could be a resource you can use. Their phone number is 715-836-5165. So we've talked through step 1, applying, and step 2, doing your weekly claim. The final piece of the process for unemployment is step 3, which is getting registered on the Job Center of Wisconsin website. So that here, I'm going to try again to share another slide. And that is just to show you what the unemployment website looks like. Or excuse me, the Job Center of Wisconsin website. Okay. Hopefully I can pull that up. Okay, that might be something that I can share at the very end. Right now, I'm not able to pull that up. I apologize. But you will go to the jobcenterofwisconsin.com, and that is the website that you need to get registered on within 14 days of opening your unemployment claim. So you don't have to do it right away, but keep in mind you need to get it done within 2 weeks of opening up that initial claim. If you've registered on there before, you can log back in and just make sure that your contact info and work history is updated. Make sure you save, and you should be then in compliance. If you've never registered on this site, you will be entering in your work history, and the system will actually build a resume for you, which is a nice feature. You'll also be able to work search on this site. So to know if you've completed the requirements on the site, at the top menu, you can hover over job seekers and go down to my JCW. When you click on that, if there's 3 green check marks, you know that you have fully registered. If you have questions on that, you can call the resource room. A few more things to cover. One thing that's specific to Hutchinson, I've been told that Wisconsin HTI employees, part of this May 2020 layoff, will be receiving a severance, and the severance is not allocated or assigned for particular dates. So this means that you may claim during the week or weeks you receive payment. And then I did want to cover some information about the COVID-19. So as you've likely heard in the news, there are some new measures put in place by unemployment because of the virus. Because this information changes a lot week to week, we can't speculate on exactly what will happen by mid-May. But the main thing we want to emphasize is that there is a FAQ page on the unemployment website, and we encourage you to check that frequently. I know sometimes FAQ pages don't have much information, but this particular one has a lot of good information. So you can go to dwd.wisconsin.gov. That's the main Department of Workforce Development page. And then here again, I'm going to try my best to share a screen. Okay. So is that the DWD one that's coming up with the COVID-19 link? Okay. So if you go to just the main Department of Workforce Development page, a pop-up on that page has a link to the COVID-19 FAQ questions and answers. I highly encourage you to look at that. Also, once you're registered for unemployment, there's a dashboard that comes up each time that you log into your claim. That also has a lot of good information about this situation. I know sometimes we don't read all of the messages, but in this particular situation, there's a lot of good information. So as far as some specifics, you may have heard about the work search requirement. At this point, on April 2nd, the weekly work search is covered because of the COVID-19 situation. It's important to note that this could change. When the current measures are lifted, the work search will again be required. But at this particular time, we don't know when that will be. So again, keep checking the COVID-19 FAQ page. Secondly, the waiting week. There has been proposed legislation to waive the waiting week, but again, as of April 2nd, it is still in effect in Wisconsin. If and when that changes, it will be updated on that FAQ page. And then finally, many of you have heard of the unemployment benefits being included in the federal stimulus legislation, which could include the $600 increases to weekly benefit rates. We do not know when that will take effect. According to the FAQ page currently, we are awaiting guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor. It will be on our website. It will take several weeks to receive all the information from the federal government. And then it says to please check our website often. We have the most up-to-date information there. So again, the main thing I urge is just to go to that dwd.wisconsin.gov and click on the COVID-19 FAQs, and there will be more information there. So that kind of wraps up the unemployment piece.
Okay, great. Thank you, Emily. If you stop sharing your screen, I will show a new document. Maybe I just can. There we go. Okay, so what I hope to talk about next is some information specifically about Workforce Resource, which is a private nonprofit agency located at the local job center offices. And Workforce Resource currently administers a program that we refer to as WIOA, W-I-O-A, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And within that act is a program to serve dislocated workers, which are people who've lost their job through no fault of their own. So anyone from Hutchinson that receives the layoff notice will qualify for the WIOA program if you choose to participate. This flyer on the screen shows some of the services that are available, and I'll show after this the application instructions if you're interested in the program. So first you would apply online, and then one of our local career planners would contact you to set up an appointment, at this time by phone because of COVID-19, to discuss your plans moving forward. One of the things that Emily and I both wanted to make you aware of is that we encourage you to enroll in both the WIOA program and the TAA program, both. We call that co-enrollment. It's strongly suggested to benefit you in order to be in both programs and work with both career planners at the same time to help you reach your goals of either reemployment immediately, or if you're looking at attending a training program for some additional schooling and credentials. So on the screen here, just real briefly, I'll highlight some of the services available. If you decide to work one-on-one with a career planner, that person will help you with career planning and personal counseling, just helping you decide where do you want to go from here. After the layoff occurs, do you want to look for immediate employment? Are you interested in school? Helping you explore what options are available to you for training programs and within our local labor market. The second bullet point there is for training programs. The WIOA program provides funding for tuition assistance along with the TAA program. So again, we work together. Most of the time TAA will take the lead on training, but there are some cases where WIOA can assist with other costs that aren't covered for one reason or another. The next highlighted service there is job seeking and skills seminars. As I mentioned before, local job center offices offer workshops to assist job seekers with cover letters, resumes, interviewing skills, any type of thing like that you feel you might be lacking at this time or want to brush up on before you start to look for a new job. We also offer job clubs, which are group meetings to help people network, learn about job openings. Below that, it highlights support services, which is some funding that can help you pay for expenses such as childcare or transportation, maybe while you're going to school or maybe while you're looking for your next job. And then the last one, there's placement services. All of our job center staff really try to do the best job that we can of knowing what employers are hiring in our local labor market, what are the requirements to apply for those jobs, and how to connect you with the opportunities that are available. The application instructions for our program for Workforce Resource are on the screen. To apply for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, you would go to our website, workforceresource.org, and then follow the instructions here on the screen. I forgot to mention earlier that I dropped off at the Hutchinson building with the Human Resources staff blue folders that have all of these materials that we're referencing today on the video inside of the folders. And there should be one available for each person that is affected by the layoff. So you'll be able to refer to these in a hard copy in the folder if you were able to receive one from Human Resources. This is one of those documents that's inside of there, as well as the services sheet that I was just referencing. I'm going to turn things over at this time to Julie to discuss healthcare options. Let me stop sharing my screen. I'll mute myself. And I think you can take over, Julie.
Hello. I just want to briefly go over some insurance options. I know for people that is a concern when they do lose employment. I'm going to put up the page. Let's see. Okay, is it up? Okay. So I have a couple of points that I want to make today, and I also want to reinforce what Ginger said, that our services that we have available in our counties, and you are able to start accessing dislocated worker services even before the layoff. So, and I would like, I can go over some of the insurance options even beforehand if it eases some anxiety for people. So I have a couple points I want to make today. The big thing, my first point, is that you need to go to the right website. So I did put that up so that you can see that it's healthcare.gov. Many other websites will come up before this one if you Google it. And if you go to a different website, you will probably get spammed, get a lot of junk emails and instant phone calls. So I like people to see the page so that they know where they're going. If you go to get coverage in the left, and then you go down on the bottom here where it says see plans and prices, you can poke around with entering very little information and get some idea of what the plans and prices are. And remember, when we're looking at health insurance for 2020, it asks, what do you think your 2020 income will be? And so in the situation that we're talking about today, half of the yearly income will be for work and the other half of the income will be from unemployment. And that's what we'll put in for 2020. So one of the very first things that's important is that you go to the right website. Because like I said, you will get a lot of spam or junk phone calls if you go to the wrong website. It shouldn't ask for, if you're looking at plans and prices, if you're on the right page, it shouldn't ask for your social security number. It shouldn't ask for pre-existing conditions. There should just be a few simple questions like your age and which county you're in and your income. The other important point that I always like to make for everybody is I think when we get laid off, we get a little bit overwhelmed. I've been laid off in the past. And when your insurance ends, you have 60 days to sign up for the Affordable Care Act. So so that 60 days is very important. If you decide not to decide and don't enroll in that 60 days, you'll have to wait until open enrollment in the fall. If your layoff date is the end of May, and we look at insurance prices in the middle of May, you should be able to have the Affordable Care Act start at the beginning of June with no lapse in services. So if that's something you would like to need help with, you can give me a call. So the website is very important, and then it's very important to go for that 60 days. If I move my screen down here, you'll see down in the bottom there's a 1-800 number. And that, I have no idea if they've been bombarded with phone calls. I guess I would venture to guess they have been. but they answer that phone number 24/7. So if you see plans and prices and you don't feel like doing the application by yourself, or you feel like doing it on a weekend and I am not available to help, you can call that 1-800 number and they can help you do an enrollment over the phone. If you do it that way, I find it really helpful to have the page up at the same time and you could tell them which plan you're interested in purchasing. So that's another important point, is that phone call. I did mention that there is 60 days to sign up for insurance, and as has been mentioned a couple times here today, there has been some discussion about that 60 days changing with the COVID virus. And I am right now, as of today, that has not changed, but there has been talk about changing the 60 days. So that's something you need to be aware of. I would just hate for anybody to miss the 60 days and be uninsured as a result. Keep in mind, dependent upon what your income is, if you're a single parent, you may qualify for Badger Care. So that is another option for insurance, and then you would call the consortium, and any one of our offices could give you that phone number if you're not sure. Also, if you called me or if you called the 1-800 number and told them what your income was going to be on unemployment, they may refer you back to Medicaid or Badger Care in your state. And I can help with that over the phone too, if that's a concern. If your spouse has insurance available, you cannot go on the Affordable Care Act unless that spouse's insurance is deemed unaffordable. Sometimes people tell me we can't afford my spouse's insurance because of the car payments and the house payment that we have, and it doesn't work that way. Unaffordable is not based upon your current bills. It's based on a math formula of the percentage of your income that would be spent on insurance. So I would also hate for somebody to sign up for Obamacare and find out that they should have been on their spouse's insurance, because you could be required to pay those premiums back in a lump sum. And for some people, that could be thousands of dollars. My final point is, if your employer offers you COBRA, I would suggest that you check with the Affordable Care Act first. In most cases, the majority of the cases, the Affordable Care Act is a lot less expensive than COBRA. Once you enroll in COBRA, you can't change your mind and go back to ACA, the Affordable Care Act. You have to wait till open enrollment in the fall. So if you are toying with that decision, then it would be beneficial to go and look at plans and prices so that you have an ACA price versus a COBRA price. There's some reasons why people decide to stay on COBRA for the rest of the year. For example, if you had knee replacement and you know you're going to have another one in the fall, you've already met your deductible. But those are really all on a case-by-case basis. And so is the insurance in general, because it really depends upon people's health needs. So those are the main points that I wanted to cover. Ginger will put our phone numbers, and I'm pretty sure that my phone number is on the paperwork that's in the packet. So, and I think that's all I have.
Great, thank you, Julie.
Mm-hmm.
And lastly, we will bring Emily back and have her talk about TAA services. I'm going to let you take it away, Emily.
Thank you. So some of you may have known people that have participated in TAA in the past, or heard a few different things about TAA due to Hutchinson qualifying. So just as a brief introduction, TAA is one dislocated worker program. It is federally funded. And while some dislocated worker programs are a little more open to many different dislocated workers, this one in particular is only available when an employer is certified as having conducted layoffs because their business was impacted by foreign trade. So Hutchinson already has an open petition, meaning that anyone that is laid off currently would potentially qualify for these benefits so long as you individually apply. So it's important to know that you do need to individually apply and qualify for these benefits. The other thing that I like to let people know is that sometimes TAA is associated only with going back to school. While that's an important part of our benefits, there are several other benefits available. So I'm going to go over briefly each one of the different benefits. I'm going to be going through this back to work after a trade-related layoff form or brochure, excuse me, and that is in your folder. I'm going to go ahead and share that, or do my best to share that now. So let's see here. Okay, so that is the brochure, and I'm going to be referencing the benefits and services part, and it looks like maybe that didn't come up yet. Let's see. Is the brochure being shared on the screen? No, okay.
Not yet.
Okay, let's see. Boy, I had so many different things ready to share and I'm not doing the greatest job. I guess I'm getting used to this still. Yep, it's working. Okay, thank you all for your patience. Okay, so inside the brochure, you'll see that list of benefits and services. So I'll just go down the line there. The first one says employment and case management services. Those are the types of tools that are available to all dislocated workers through Job Center resources. So we can assist with things like assessments, individual employment plans, career counseling. We do have a career counselor on staff. Supportive services, information on training. We have information available about the labor market and what types of careers are growing in our area. Those are things that are available both through TAA, and then Ginger and Julie's programs can also assist with you with that as well. So what we want you to know is that you're not alone in this job search process. We will give you the tools to help you, whether you want to do some extra training or get right back into the workforce, okay? The next one on the list there is training. So this is a big one of the benefits, probably the thing that maybe our program is most identified by. We can pay for up to 130 weeks of a training program, and that would be full tuition, books, and fees. So that usually comes out to about a 2 or 2.5 year program. Now, many of our students do choose to pursue an associate degree program, for instance, through Chippewa Valley Tech. However, we can also assist with other types of programs, like if you already have an associate degree, sometimes we're able to fund a bachelor or even a master's program, depending on what you could fit into 130 weeks. I would emphasize we do need to approve your training plan before you can ever get started, and there's a process to that. I won't go into that today, but if you have any interest in training at all, maybe you're kind of debating and on one side you think yes and on the other no, please just get in touch. I am very happy to talk one-on-one with people, and we can kind of talk through your options. Moving down into the next thing, I always, when I meet in person with people, I draw a line between the training benefits and then the next one that I'm going to talk about, which is called trade readjustment allowances. The reason I do this is because the trade readjustment allowances are really an extension of unemployment insurance. So the reason they're connected to training is you have to be in an approved training plan, like TAA is paying for your school, in order to then qualify for the unemployment extensions through our program. So hopefully that's making sense. You would only have access to that additional unemployment insurance while you're going to school through our program. Now that also does have some deadlines associated. You need to get started with school within 6 months of layoff. And again, there's some details there that I'd need to expand upon, but just keep in mind there's some deadlines. So if you're interested in school, get in touch with me and we'll move from there. Next is 2 benefits that have to do with relocation. The first is job search allowance. For example, let's say you're looking at jobs outside of our commuting area. So maybe you want to go, you have family in Chicago and you're interested in relocating to that area. We could help pay for the transportation to and from an interview if you already have an interview set up in the Chicago area and you've let me know about it beforehand. Now, let's say you're offered that job in Chicago, then the next one is the relocation allowances benefit, and our program can help pay for your full relocation to that other city. I would say that those benefits are probably the least utilized just because a lot of people do want to stay in our area, but when I've had people take part in them, they've been really helpful. The final one listed at the bottom there is called, it's listed as the Alternative Trade Adjustment Assistance and Reemployment Trade Adjustment Allowance Assistance. Whew, that's a mouthful. What I call that with people is a wage subsidy. Now this benefit, you might want to write down on that brochure, this is for people who are over the age of 50. This is probably our second most utilized benefit. It's very helpful. So the way that it works is, let's say you go out and get a new job, you're making a little bit less than you did at Hutchinson. We can subsidize your wage for up to 2 years or $10,000. So we take the wage that you were making at Hutchinson and we take the wage you're now making. We take the difference between those two wages, divide that in half, and that's what we can subsidize. Hope I'm making sense. Absolutely, give me a call and we'll talk through those details there. But that's a big one that can really help. We know that sometimes layoffs occur years prior to retirement or at a time that maybe you're not looking to go back to school, but a subsidy can really help with that income. The very last thing I'll talk about, which is not listed on this brochure, is something that can help pay for your healthcare premiums. It is not run directly by TAA, but it's available to those who qualify for TAA. So if you want to reference the handout about TAA that we included in your, it's a white half paper, and I don't know if that's showing on the screen now, maybe not. But it says TAA information, also to see TAA brochure. Toward the bottom, it lists the health coverage tax credit, and it says only benefit not listed in the brochure. So just a little information about this. You do need to first qualify for the TAA program to then be eligible for this health coverage tax credit. Once you're eligible for TAA, it can assist in paying for 72.5% of your health coverage premiums. Why is that important? Well, we know that some people might be opting for COBRA insurance at the time of layoff, and COBRA, as we all know, is very expensive. This can step in and help pay for 72% of those premiums, or if you move into a spouse's plan, or an individual health coverage plan, again, it could help pay for any of those premiums. You do need to be receiving at least one unemployment check or one wage subsidy check each month that you'd like to qualify for this tax credit. Again, it's run through the IRS. It's a little bit difficult to explain all the details of it quickly. So if you have questions about getting assistance with paying for your health premiums, please give me a call and we'll talk through those details. I will note, I know Julie was talking about the marketplace. This does not help pay for any premiums with the health care marketplace or Badger Care. So those are the general benefits of the TAA program. Again, I encourage you to refer to that brochure, but we also have an excellent resource through the DWD website. There is an entire website devoted to TAA benefits, and I'm going to try to share that page now. I highly encourage you to look up this page and check out the videos on this page. Okay, so is the TAA site showing up? Okay, perfect. One of the reasons why I really want to encourage people to go to this site is that I don't know if we are going to be able to host an in-person TAA orientation session. That meeting is typically a great way to hear about all the benefits of our program. Due to the current COVID-19 measures, I'm not sure what the orientations are going to look like. Most likely, you are going to receive a TAA application for benefits in the mail. I encourage you to watch your mail for this, and you will most likely fill it out on your own and send it back to the department to be determined individually eligible. By all means, I am very happy to help people. If you have some questions about the application, please give me a call. My business cards are in the folder that you received. My contact information is also listed on that half sheet. You can also always just call the Eau Claire Job Center and they'll route you to me. So please just know you can absolutely reach out. I'm very happy to help one-on-one. The reason that this website is particularly helpful though is that the orientation videos that we watch during the TAA orientation are all on this website. They do a great job of explaining these benefits. So as you can see, this first video is an intro giving an overview about TAA. And then if you move down the right side menu here, each of the benefits I just talked about are all listed and each one has their own video. And so if there's a particular benefit that I talked about today that you'd like to learn more about, you can watch the video on that website. So highly recommend going to that. Okay. So I explained the orientation process. Highly encourage people to give me a call or send me an email with questions. We will do our best to get back to you as quickly as possible. And please, I would say don't discount the TAA program if you're simply not interested in school, because as you've hopefully learned today, there's much more to these benefits. So thank you for listening.
Great, thank you, Julie. Last thing I wanted to share is just to make sure that everyone is fully aware that you can contact us anytime. You certainly do not need to wait until the layoff date and until your job has ended at Hutchinson. Please reach out to us at any time if you want some assistance with planning. You know, we found from experience that the earlier you can start planning for things, hopefully the more successful you'll be rather quickly. All of us, Julie, Emily, myself, and the rest of our staff within our job centers and workforce resource really do care about helping people be successful. And that's what we're here for. So reach out to us, ask questions. We're more than happy to help. You know, times are very odd right now. We'll do the best we can by phone. We can set up video chats like this if you prefer to be able to see who you're talking with. We're trying to be as flexible as we can to make sure people have accurate information in order to plan ahead for what's in store in the future. I did want to pull up and share contact information. Are the phone numbers showing on the screen? Okay, great. So my contact information is at the top. Julie's is in the middle for healthcare resources. Julie also does career planning for the WIOA program, along with healthcare information. So you can contact her if you live in the Menominee area. And then Emily's information is listed last for TAA. Please reach out to us, ask questions. We'll start the process of getting you on the path to success as quickly as we can. Refer to all the information that was provided in those blue folders. If anything is unclear, again, let us know. And we'll do the best we can to connect with you and get you the information that you need. Thanks for joining us today. We hope to hear from you soon, and let us know how we can help. Thank you.